Welcome everyone to Dynasty the Podcast Show. I am your host, Ira Thomas Bush the Fourth, and this is another episode. We back today. This is called. I named the title today. I wasn't lazy. I just didn't give it no. I didn't give it too much thought. I called it Boss Talk Part One, and today, you know, first before I start, I just want to say I do want to shout out my parent, my mother, my child, my nieces and nephews, my family, anybody associated with Elite Youth Association, anything Elite Association, anything I'm tied to for real, you know what it is. I appreciate y'all. Any kind of support is very vital at this time of of creating the vision. Like I said, I ain't had my phone for the last week. That's another story. It's a petty day, petty another. I ain't gonna get that, but it's just because it fell out my pocket. But listen, we check in every day. We had an energy transition conference today on the fifth floor. So I went in. Y'all know we checking in. I ain't even playing with nobody. And you can read that the little script right there. You can look into what we was talking about, and I'm gonna break it down. It's not gonna be a long show. I just want to tell y'all one thing. I told the story probably, but it's not every day I tell it. So, you know, I started Elite Youth Association based off me coaching sports. Mind you, I'm back in coaching. I'm coaching football this year. I don't know what capacity, but I'm back. I'm in the DC area right now. It's all season spring. We don't have tackle game to prepare for, but I think it's going to be more like 707 tournaments going on around here or whatnot. It's a little bit different than Florida, and I'm not really here for the fame or clout or whatever it is for coaching. I'm here to help the youth. That's the main thing. So when I started coaching sports, when I started volunteering my time after when I graduated, I was full time after I graduated high school. When I started volunteering, and the youngest that I was watching every Sunday at the before I think it was yeah, it was at the church service, and then we had the brunch after, or it might have been before. It was after, and they did the youth thing. And we came. We was preparing brunch for like breakfast and brunch, and this is while I was in South Florida. And it could stem from when I was younger too, and when I was growing up with my homies and my relatives. The male cousins. We play football every day. We compete on the game systems, and I was in team club and all that stuff like that at the Y, and it could stem from that. But my drive to really elaborate and to really see my vision play out started when I was 18, and the people that I was around. I was coaching Little League at the time. My first year coaching was Little League at 18, and I always I always right in front of athletics, I always put my intellectual above that because that's what my mother raised me on. So, and that's what my grandmother told me to make sure I don't play around with that. Even though I ain't finished college yet, I will finish. I'm not in a rush. I probably write a book before that. So, whatever degree I got is not going to top what I make in that book. It's not going to top my podcast. That's just me helping somebody institution get clout. And I ain't tripping about it no more. It's I'm a full grown adult. I'm not telling nobody not to go to college. All my female cousins, and my sister already. She was established as a chef at 17 years old before she graduated high school. My sister was making rap music at 14 and 13 and writing books and stuff. The children of Regina Yvonne Pope were talented and gifted. We did not need this. We're in United States of America. These people are, they will suppress you for no reason. My niece came early, but my sister was in the booth rapping, and my sister was doing her thing. She was selling candy, and she was in the basketball court going in. So we was always making it happen, and me and my younger sister, we do our thing in the community still. We won a championship, and back in 2020, the Red League, did softball. Now let's get back to what I was trying to say. This all stems from me, having that vision of, having my own centers and going out here competing against people that think they can outcoach me or outsmart me. I love debate, and I was in it for a half a year. I would say it was almost a year. It was, I learned a lot, and I'm back into politics. My niece is actually in debate now. She's in middle school, and I want to. Me and her literally are doing the same thing. I told them, my child is one of the best. She'll crisscross you the best with the best, and she's very, very honest. And I love that she speaks that way. Now, the older she get, and the less I'm around her, she might be crisscrossing too much, and I'm gonna have to remind her not to do that too much, because you don't want to be a dishonest person, and you don't want to pick up bad habits, which is what I taught them when they was younger. So I'm gonna reiterate that out in public for the people that need to hear that, or to reiterate it to her, and I'll put that in the atmosphere. And my nephew, he know not to speak unless unless it's time to, step up as a man, and he know not to let nobody play with him, and don't let nobody steal your spirit as a man, because it's all about the action at the end when you're a man. So we get the actions, and y'all don't want the actions, unless we are competing in the real sports, and that's just how it's gonna go. Now, like I said, the young men that are growing up that I help, who I won't say I influence very, I might not be a lot to them, but the influence I try to give, hopefully it rubbed off on a lot of them, and I'm still motivated to see my centers go worldwide and throughout the United States. And I got ties that people don't want to understand based off my parents who they married, and I'll be good when I leave the United States. I'm just trying to get established here first. And it's difficult because people not really comprehending that aspect of the whole thing. I'm not really studying the pettiness of competing in the United States no more. I don't care how famous these people be. They don't understand why I'm gonna go global. They don't understand why I'm gonna reach way different people and be family. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be great. I don't have no ill will. This ain't coming from nothing more than but the people that my parents chose to procreate with and to build relationships with, so I ain't really tripping about a lot of stuff that people be thinking about. I'm going to defend my family, both sides, in the best manner I can. These people out here too tough for me. They out here practicing spiritual and the spiritual warfare. These male that call this these men that call that these men portraying themselves as men, but really doing female tendencies and activities, and having this, I never seen people steal money and then be mad that they stole the money and they ain't even get caught. They just mad that they ain't cool enough to even spend the money that they stole, or spend the light or steal the light that they stole. They ain't cool enough to shine hard enough. That's the craziest stuff to me. These people be around here walking around goofy to me. So, I talk about it all the time, but shout out to my team. Elite Youth Association is strong. The people that I starred, they still great. They not worried about no dickhead ass shit. They ain't on no petty stuff. They out here doing their thing. I don't want them, they got careers. They get graduating college. These are young men. You get what I'm saying to say? My niece and nephews, they ain't even in middle high school. Just a couple of them just graduated. You know what I'm saying? It ain't even that many. They still young. We good. As far as my assignment is so far of when comes to merit, you cannot compete with the merit that I've earned. That's my assignment that I picked. I just gave you the rundown what it is. I'm not competing with, you're not on my level. You can't even get on my level because of the choices you made. And this not coming from people that I care about. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm not talking about no family type ties stuff. I'm talking about the pettiness of people who they not comprehending certain things. They need the thing about it is, if I got down with my team like I was young, I talk about this all the time, and act like a little child or preteen, and be, and it's not, and we all act like we did when we was then, y'all wouldn't even like how I treat people. You know what I'm saying? It ain't even gonna be mean. It's just gonna be like y'all gonna get stepped on. Y'all gonna get stepped on, rolled up. We did not lose in the playground. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like y'all ain't even ready for that type of vibe. Y'all not even built like that. It half of these people that be walking around here, and I ain't even really talking about DC. I just got here. I can't diss nobody here. I ain't trying to take over no turf. The only turf I'm taking over is the political turf. These people are not prepared. These people don't know what they be talking about. They don't even know how to decipher the stuff that they reading off their paper that they give them. So that's another day, man. But I'm gonna break it down real quick. I'm gonna get in and out. That was my spew for the day. I gotta remind why we do Dynasty the podcast is my child's real name, basically. Elite Youth Association, global, big, huge, giants. It's not even in the it's nowhere near the ending of it. It's like it's not even gonna have to be publicized how it's gonna be moving. It's like you gonna know what it is. It's stamped already by me. So it ain't nothing that I ever touched with it went sour or went sideways. They gotta work real hard to do that. I don't got a time to step on nobody younger than me toes. I'm here to put you in position to win. Now today that goes right into what I was talking about. We were talking about energy. Now they're these people call it what is it called? They it's energy transition conference. Now they I can't even what this shit is called. It's some kind of week, a special week or whatever. So, but the last 2 days they've been focusing on energy, and I'm talking about, they talking about electricity today, and they talking about, the wavelengths in me is, it's electrified, it's eternal, it's a whole, it's a source that they're not communicating about. They beating around the bush about using humans for energy. And this is what America is well, the world does it, but America has done so much treasonous activity to gain. It's not that it's only America, it's just I'm here in America. And y'all ways of doing it is not proper at all. Y'all do not ask people correctly how to use their internal energy to manifest things that y'all want to see outcomes. And it ain't if y'all really talk about it in a public manner, and they trying to make, because the stuff that's on the back of my head that has nothing to do with nothing but spiritual warfare, putting me in warfare as a child, and I'm not mad. I'm old enough to talk about it. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm in the political world, like, and I don't want people to think I okay that. It's not okay. What's not okay? That what you did to my mother was, my grandfather couldn't be around my mother. This is real known stuff that I've been said, and he's already ascended, so I can speak on this. This is what y'all issue is. Y'all want something to happen to my mother because she's a powerful human, and y'all not as powerful as her. Y'all trying to weaken her over. Y'all trying to prop these people up like they more intelligent than my mother, and that's not it. Or my grandmother, or as creative as my grandmother, or even how y'all slowed down my oldest cousins. And when they was doing their thing, they was basically celebrities as teenagers. You know what I'm saying? They was cheering, they was doing the choir, they was doing all that. They was doing the fashion. They were writing people. They was doing all that stuff before the internet. They was only the internet right when it came out. All that stuff was right in my face. I ain't tripping. They was collecting Jordans and shoe collect. All that stuff was boxes. This is known. So all that stuff people be into, that was been. And then in 95, 96, whatever year it was, when I was a little child, we couldn't even come out the door. People was signing up being homosexuals and messing with little children. We was protected very heavily. I want people to start making up stuff about my family and start making up stuff about anybody in my family. I don't appreciate that stuff. It's 2000, it's 30 years later. Y'all still playing around. We ain't playing like that. We was then raised like that. You know what I'm saying? I gotta talk about it because it's the confusion that's messing up stuff monetarily. And it ain't even probably messed up no more. It's just that I'm not tapping in how I need to tap in. So y'all got to get y'all mind right. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to keep it moving. Now let's break down a few things. The people that spoke, because I kind of felt dozed off after the first one, and this is what I mean by spiritual warfare. This happened to me in high school, elementary, and it's not, and I didn't fight the sleep. I call them sleep monsters, but whatever they call them in this make you look bad. I was like, okay, I was well rested coming in, and I was like sleepy 5 minutes later. I was like, no, okay, y'all got that. But people that listened was Emily Safford Fisher. She was in the one day before. She was the monitor in this one. Sophia Dowler. Um, and it was His last name is Paul. He's a representative for New York. And Vanessa Bertelli. And this was actually a really good group. I'm gonna read off what they said. Miss Fisher, she was the monitoring, and she likes the experience of that Paul brought, so he spoke. He's like, it's tough to get attention that it needs. And he was talking about the demands of, what energy is going, what's going on in the energy world, far as the development. And he was like, energy should be our fuel of choice. And he was basically, this is the guy I really wanted to talk about, the representative from New York, Mr. Paul. He kind of his Paul Toki represented Tonki. No, his real name is Paul. His last name is Tonko. If I mispronounce it, oh well. He was kind of saying like he was how they were using humans for energy, and all aspects of energy is okay with him. How they try, and he left early. So I found that very disrespectful because I had a real question for him, and they put me to sleep right after that whole little spew, and I was this is no actually matter of fact that was actually yeah that was the one I paid attention to. My bad. No, yeah, that was the first one. I think, yeah. But basically what he was saying, he left and it was our spew. He didn't he my question for him, I'm gonna put my question out because I don't really care what they were saying. You had to be there because you won't get the gist of the whole conference. And my question for him, this is the only thing. Everybody did a good job. I'm gonna name the rest of the people that was there, and that was my issue. Everybody else did a pretty solid job. I like the way one of the ladies. I'm gonna make sure I mention her name. That's who did the best to me because she had a her intern or somebody who worked for her was right there, and she had an answer that I always got. She said what I felt like is the biggest problem. Everything's incomplete. Nobody's completing anything. Everybody's running around, and that's what I was just telling you what Mr. Paul said. And Phil Chan said something that was actually about the same as her, but in a more, he's on a bigger, he's the boss. So he's like speaking like, yeah, we know it's incomplete. We actually, him being Asian, and I think he said the Philippines where he's based out of, he was just talking about, you know, we can do way more. Meaning they have it in Asia, they don't have the demand in America. So we speaking to an American audience, it ain't nothing to speak on. And then even in Asia, their issue is they spoke on it. This is what I like what Miss Sophie, so I want to say Safina, she was speaking on them having um basically like energy, what is it called? Oh, she said it so perfectly. I didn't even write it down, but it was easy to remember. So I didn't write it down. It was basically a traveling for energy, traveling energy, like little spots, and it basically who needs it the most. And she was like, this is what they were doing. This is what how they're being efficient in other countries that's lacking energy. Like we don't really lack energy too many places that I've seen. I'm in major parts. It's parts in America that is probably behind time that they don't really publicize, but it's not really behind time. These people just gotta move like next city over, an hour away over, something like that. It's usually like that. They're in the wooded area. They don't have the good circuit, the good something. But you go to like Asia or Africa, these big continents, it's whole countries that need this type of development. And that's what they got a whole bigger scale when you talking from these people that are from different continents and countries. They don't have the same issue. We have petty issues, like we're slow. We don't have the intelligence that they have, or we don't have the drive that they have. Too many of our people are not on beat far as their IQ, and they feel obligated to certain things, and they're not, and it ain't panning out because we don't have that drive. We want to do drugs. We not educated enough to be in these rooms. And this is why I ain't tripping about. This is something that one of my elite associates will be masters of. This is what I champion Miss Bertilli when she didn't have the right answer. She get passed it to a younger person in her staff or her team, and she elegantly broke it down for everybody to understand. I was appreciative of that. I wanted to speak on that, but my biggest thing was when Mr. Paul was speaking, and I was like, "Do you utilize humans as test subjects for the development of energy programs and the progress of energy research breakthrough? If so, like this is what I wanted to ask him. If so, what are your programs um what programs have that are public? What are the programs that are public that has to do with you utilizing humans as test subjects and developing your energy programs? I need the names of these programs. Sorry about that. I need the names of these programs. And do you think it's ethical? I want you to answer that with a straight face. So those are my two things when you walked out and when these people was okay and yes sirring you and calling you somebody great and grand. I ain't really gonna was not gonna ask. I was gonna ask you that question specifically. Everybody else was pretty cool, Even like I said, Mr. Chan seemed like he was on point because he has way bigger problems. His batteries need to be sold. They need to be told. So I like that. Hey, how he came in. He was like, "Well, I'm here for a favor, and people respect my work." And then I like the way he presented himself. He didn't have to come off as he didn't come off as arrogant, and he could have being more advanced and I'm sure some other people who were speaking and spoke they have it, but he has the resources and he need the people to be in demand. That was his biggest thing, and I'm putting that out there. I'm gonna tell you his company is called Cold Electric. He's the CEO, Phil Chan, and that's what I took from that panel. Everybody else, the other lady I spoke on, she's located in Washington D.C. She's with the youth, she's with the younger crowd. She probably I won't say she need help, but she need information about the intel on the households. You could go reach out to her. She's not, she seemed like she wants everybody to be a part, and I liked that. So energy is a big thing. I don't think they need to use humans, unless it's not a American is trying to use humans for no reasons and energy, and that's not the main. We don't need that source of energy yet. It's not the end of the world yet. You know what I'm trying to say? Now, if you are in the countryside and then you got to use your mind for, you know, to call your ancestors to drop some water off or something, that's a whole different type of energy. We're not playing like that because y'all don't try to technically logically mess up stuff and fix stuff and y'all that's why the advancement is slow because y'all be trying to do stuff to beat somebody but y'all ain't even in the field. Y'all over here in fairyland basically in the United States. Everything's available to you. We're not lacking in ships and y'all want it because the next little neighbor got it. That ain't how you supposed to. My grandma used to say this one saying. I'm gonna try to say it correct the first time. Cause me and my cousin was laughing when she first told us. All three of us. It was all the three young men. She was like, well, I think she told the girls first, and then we came in. Me and my oldest, he about the same age as me. My youngest was already in there, and she was like, you don't live to eat, you eat to live, or something like that. And it was like, I think I said it right. It's just basically like take what you need at the time. You don't need to overdo anything, especially if it's already there. It ain't going nowhere. So, I learned that very young, and my mom kind of raised me like that because when it comes to these clothes, when it comes to style, my mom got the best style. It's like she could put anything on and it's gonna be fly. And I'm about the same way, and I teach my child to be the same kind of don't be stressing that yet because you're gonna have something greater and bigger with your apparel. You feel me? So it's kind of like that, man. We're not trying to be out here doing all that extraness. So, that's all I'm gonna say today, man. It was actually a pretty good seminar or conference. I'm calling it conference because it's important about when you're talking about energy. So we're gonna be back out there tomorrow. I'm gonna try to get down there and catch it on hearing. Try. I don't know for sure. People be trying to dock me and see when clock me and see when I'm going and moving and all this weirdo. I ain't even been here for 3 months. But and send me some females, man. I ain't got time for all that. Send me a woman. Send me some. I won't be in your way if y'all act like I ain't 34-year-old male that really ain't no lame and ain't no playing no games. How about that? Send me some females. How about that? I won't be in your way. I won't be out here outdoing you in political world. Y'all ain't even doing that good enough. Get out my face. Well, that's it, man. This is Dynasty the Podcast Show. I'm your host, Ira Thomas, Mr. Fourth. And yeah, we're gonna be back tomorrow, probably, most likely. It's 99% sure, and we'll get back to it. I'll see y'all later.